All right, welcome back to the Supercoach Snuff channel. In this video, we are looking at the Fantasy Premier League Game Week 4 review. So not a bad week, 72 points, which was bang on average and just below half the highest for the round. And I guess bang on average in terms of the game week rank as well. So 5 mil out of 10 mil, that's pretty close to the middle. So excuse me, just outside the top 1 million at the moment. And if we have a look at the team, we'll see that I guess starting with defense was a little bit lacking for us this week. Johnston with the 1 point, and also I guess the news that Dean Henderson has signed on from Man United. So there's a good chance that we might have to move on from Johnston. Chilwell also with a single point. Not sure if that was through goals conceded or a bit of both. Yeah, yellow card as well. Played 61 minutes, so gonna guess enough for 1 point. Excuse me again. Rico Henry with 1 point and a Stupinan with 2 points. So, not a lot of production from our defence, but our attacking players probably, were a bit more productive. So Saka getting, extra clean sheet point there. Oh no, what do you get? 4 points. Well, you got an assist. Okay, I'm with you now, and a yellow card. So that's how you got to 4. Madison, I believe he got a goal. Yep, goal scored. So 7, and Buemo with a goal. Martinelli with an assist. Fernandez unfortunately blanking. Jackson also blanking. But the obvious star for us was Erling Haaland. So 3 goals and an assist. Obviously 3 bonus points to go with that. And then having him as captain, obviously double up on that, gets us 40 points. So that's the reason why we leave the C on him every week, is because he has that ability to explode. On the bench, so a good week for Turner with 5 points. He's got the clean sheet there against Chelsea, which is, I guess, a result I wasn't expecting. Pedro rather, started, got 2 points, and Kabora and Baldock a point each. So, yeah, in terms of the transfers, obviously, I guess the main thing is we have 2 weeks to go. So with the international break this weekend, so we're not going to do any moves straight away, but we will definitely look at a few to consider. And the first one is obviously with Johnston. Um, as I said, if I go to Crystal Palace, yep. So you can see we've got Dean Henderson there at 4.5 as well. So you know, if we were to pull the trigger on a wild card, it could be a straight swap there. If we look at Crystal Palace's fixtures, a couple of okay ones against Villa and Fulham, but then the likes of Man United, Newcastle, Spurs in the future. So if we go back to all players, probably still wanting to target Areola if we are to pull the trigger on the wild card. No, excuse me, there, got to the mute button in time that time. um, yes, as I was saying, we'll probably go with Areola in goal. Um, Udogie, he's now up to 4.7 and he could continue to rise. So we may want to pull the trigger on Udogie sooner rather than later. We can do our 2 free transfers off the bat, and then if we need to play the wild card, we can. That's another strategy we can do to try and avoid, losing a lot of value. And then, yeah, aside from Udogie, I guess, we've talked about the likes of Gusto, although I guess Reece James is approaching a comeback. Matty Cash, we had talked about him slightly in the preseason, but he's scored well the last 2 weeks and then slipped up with a -1 against Liverpool thanks to an own goal. So you know, okay looking fixtures, and I guess maybe able to expect to bounce back there. In the midfield, I guess the target that's now coming to the forefront is Son Heung-min after his hat trick playing as a striker. It seemed against Burnley. Um, so I don't know what happened with Richarlison, why he was left out. He may be injured. Obviously, in 2 weeks, that's a lot of time to recover potentially. So we do want to look for a bit of value or someone to bring in for Martinelli. Obviously, he has slipped in price, um, but we do have a nice buffer of cash, so it's not the biggest stress in the world. But I guess Son would represent that very top end of town in terms of midfielders at 9 mil, unless of course we do want to bring in Salah, who actually I think he did all right last night from memory. Yeah, he got a goal. He was in around it a bit, so yeah, it might be worthwhile having a look at Salah. I've just realised he's got a return in every game this season, so I slept on my boy a bit there. But we could make some moves to bring him in potentially. Um, and then I guess in terms of the forwards, it would be nice if we could go to an Alvarez. Ferguson at 5.9. That's interesting. He must have dropped in price and then got himself a cheeky little hat trick against Newcastle. So he'll be back up to 6 mil in no time, no doubt. But yeah, we can look at the usual targets like Vissa. We could look at Isak, although he's slipped off the first page here. Only got 2 points against Brighton. Has Brentford next game. So yeah, I mean, like I said, we don't have to make any moves straight away because we do have the 2 weeks. But I guess if we were to pull the trigger on the wild card, it looks something a bit like this. So go with Ariola, Nudogi, and I might just leave it with Bore for the time being. Martinelli out. Yeah, so I guess the other options are things like we got Sterling still would be a valid option, Matoma and Diaby, that 6.5 type option. Um, but we'll bring in Sun just to see how we can go. We've still got 1.5 mil. So yeah, we could easily get to an Alvarez type. How much? Yeah, so we wouldn't be able to get to Isak. We'd have to make a couple of more moves throughout. But I guess the alternative is if we look at the Salah, so 3.5, so we'd already have to find a bit more money elsewhere. So it might even be we have to get out of Jackson. And I guess we can start with Vissa, 6.2 or 4.4 is not enough. So we'd have to go super cheap. So I guess Ferguson would be in our price bracket. And then the 4.7. So I'll see if he pops up on the next couple of pages. So you got Semenyo as a possible option, but Archer looks like he's playing at Sheffield. Got a goal. That was his first goal, wasn't it? Yeah, goal and assist. So yeah, first game for them. What's happened there? It's a bit of a blue. Everton playing twice. I don't think that's right. Surely not. But yeah, we could get into a player like that. And then obviously, you'd rotate between Ferguson and Archer if Ferguson had a tough fixture. Um, but, that would work. We'd have 0.2 in the bank, and we'd also have ourselves a bit of Mo Salah. But we'll reset. So as I said, we'll spend some more time thinking, wait until the international break sort of comes and goes, see how the injuries are. This money may not stretch quite as far if the likes of a Dogi keep updating. Son will obviously go up in price, which will have to be a consideration, that sort of thing. But yeah, there's not much point of rushing these things because there is a lot of water to go under the bridge. So I might just leave it there for the time being. As always, if you've got any comments or thoughts on the team, please feel free to add them to the area below the video. If you are enjoying the content, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you wanted to get involved with our little fantasy league group, I think the link is still in the description. It'll go back from the start of the season. So if you're off to an absolute flyer and you want to be the top of the table of a league, feel free to join us. But other than that, thanks for always watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.